Welcome back to Law Factor Live, where we're talking about children and the abuse that they may be going through in St. Lucia, and what you could do perhaps to, not say lessen the load, but don't keep quiet. The things that you can perhaps do to help a child, I won't say get through it, but just give them some help. And perhaps I think I'd like to ask, whilst we are waiting for the calls, we're going to allow you now, if you have any questions that you would like to ask our guests, or if there are any statements, anything that you would like to say about this subject. Maybe you have been someone who's stepped in and you're glad that you have. But you have your time now. Time goes by so quickly, and we are just being inundated with people answering the questions. We're going to stop taking any answers now because we just simply cannot catch up with there's just so many of them, and some of the questions that you're sending are getting lost. So if you have sent us questions, the best thing that you can do actually is to give us a call. That way at least you know for sure you're going to get through. The number is on the screen. Now, one of the questions that actually came through a little earlier was someone asking about how they could be a foster parent, but perhaps they missed the explanation that we had earlier, and someone else actually asked for the signs. How can they tell if a child is being abused? I don't know who would like to answer that. Beverly? Yeah. We have a call. After this call, maybe you can answer that. Hello, welcome to the Law Factor Live. Thank you for calling.
Hello, good night.
Hello?
Yeah, I have a quick.
Yes, can you speak up, please?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes?
Yeah, can a lady leave a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old at her house and go to work and return at 1, 2 in the morning? I listen on the TV. I listen on the television. You hear what I say?
Yes,
well, I didn't, but if you'd like to respond, please.
The question he asked
Did you hear the question?
Yes, we heard the question.
All right.
The question is, can a lady leave a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old? It was 3 children, but all under the age of 10. Can she leave them at home alone and return home at 1 o'clock in the morning? And the answer to that is no. And these are the signs of abuse. These are the kinds of abusive situations that we see on a daily basis. That is what we would term abandonment and neglect, because it means that the 10-year-old now has the responsibility of taking care of the younger children, and that 10-year-old, him or herself, needs parenting. So when something like that happens, it needs to be reported to the Division of Human Services or to the police, and we will go to the house and see what the situation is, so that these children can be put in a place of safety, or that we can speak to the mother to see exactly why this is happening, what is the situation, and how we can obtain some help for her and her children.
All right, thank you very much for that. Thank you for that, caller. If there's anyone else who'd like to ask any questions, because sometimes people may be in doubt as to what actually is abuse, and as you've very much highlighted, if a child is not having parental supervision at appropriate times, then that would stand as abuse. So if you have any other questions, any other comments, this is the time to do so. Now, before that, we had a question regarding the children. I don't know if you'd like to respond to that question. Shall I remind you what the question was?
Please.
Okay. We were talking about, someone was asking about children, and they were saying
signs of abuse.
the signs of abuse.
Signs of abuse. It depends on the kind of abuse which the child has suffered. But when, as Mrs. John said earlier, all of them, at the end of all of them, you have the physical, the emotional, and the psychological abuse. One of the major changes that we find is a change in behavior. A child may become, is usually on both ends of the spectrum.
All right, let's go to this call,
Yes,
and then we'll respond. Hello, welcome to the Law Factor Live. Your question, please.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, it's me again calling back. Let me tell you, she normally go to work and she leaves the children at the house. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, she leaving the kids at the house, but I have one child there, the 3-year-old. One 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old. But I have one kid there, the 3-year-old.
One of those children is your child.
Yeah, the 3-year-old. That's all.
Okay, then you need to make a report and somebody will come and investigate and we take it from there. You need to come and make a report.
But
All right.
Yes, Pepper?
I'd like to add, what I'm hearing is this mother is actually working to try and provide for her
the
children. So if he as a father has a child there, why doesn't he go and babysit and look after those children so she can bring in income for the family? Because what we sometimes forget is we sit back and say, well, it's this person's responsibility. So it's a mother's responsibility. She's been, to a certain extent, a responsible mother because she's going out to try and provide for her children. So as a father, whether he's a father of 1, 2, or 3, and he's a responsible father, and he wants to assist, then why go and assist by looking after the children?
That's a good point. But what about the other way around in terms of, I am a mother, I have a few children, I need to be able to go out to you know, to provide for them. I know they're underage, but what am I supposed to do?
Yes.
Could I come to you?
Yes, definitely.
Because there may be people out there who think, well, what am I supposed to do? But they're afraid to come to you because they think you're going to take the children away.
right.
Yes, that's why I said to him that if he comes in to make the report, I was thinking along those same
Yeah,
lines.
but I'm talking about it the other way around.
Yes,
you
we
know,
can go in and investigate, and then that way we would bring in the mother.
No, I understood that. What I'm
Yes.
saying is, if I am the mother and I have no one to look after those children, but I need to go out to work because I need to provide those children, could I feel comfortable to come to you and say to you, I need some help? I think there may be quite a few women who are in that situation, but they're afraid to come to you because they think that you're going to take the children away.
Okay, now I understand.
That's what I'm
yes.
trying to say.
And I think you're right, and I think that's an area that needs to be developed. We don't have a babysitting service. It just doesn't exist. But what the Division of Human Services could possibly do is advocate on that mother's behalf with her family and neighbors to see if they could get somebody within the family and neighbor where the mother may not feel confident enough to approach, and the division could advocate on their behalf and get somebody to babysit. There are a lot of young people who could actually possibly do the babysitting for a minimal amount of money per week, and that would provide them with some pocket money for themselves, and they're providing a service to that mother or other mothers who are wanting to go out and earn a living.
Okay, and Beverly, you were talking about some of the signs of child abuse.
Yes, and I was saying that many times the signs are on both ends of the spectrum. You may have a child who becomes very withdrawn, a child who was otherwise bubbly and talkative becomes very withdrawn, or you can have the opposite, a child who was withdrawn who now starts to exhibit behaviors that seem abnormal. Children who start to, say for example, wander, come home late, or try to avoid certain places and certain people, and that can be a red flag to tell you that something is not right. Many times we often see problems developing in school when the teacher calls to say that this child, you know, certain things are happening, you have grades dropping, and it generally is a combination of all of these things, not just any one in isolation.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Hello, welcome to Law Factor Live. Thank you for calling.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to offer a suggestion to the problem with the mother who left the child there alone. Earlier today, I heard Mr. Dalsaw in the House debating, and he mentioned about the STEP program and providing assistance or allowing the STEP program to take care of people, the elderly, change the pampers, and they would pay them. Maybe that's one of the activities which the government can engage in the STEP program. Employ persons to take care of persons with that problem. So they in turn would pay these individuals to take care of the young parents, and the mother herself to go out and work. What do you think of that idea?
That is a very good idea. And it would be nice to have more persons like you to come forward with these ideas, to have the government use a STEP program to assist persons who want to go out to work, to help and to assist them with their children. That is a fantastic idea, and I think if we were able to put that to the government, and as an initiative to see if they would take it on board and develop it further.
Very good. Thank you so much for that, viewer. Thank you. I think, as you said, Bevelyn, very, very excellent thought there. And we always like to think of the Law Factor Live as a place to provide solutions, not just to talk about it. What can we do? So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, you know, they haven't touched on this, maybe we can consider this. We won't just talk about it here and leave it there. As you know, we have housekeeping every week. I will tell you, we have gone to this department, we have spoken to this person, and so on. All right, so don't sit there just thinking, well, nothing's going to be done. Something will be done. These are our children. When we come back from the break, I want to not talk about just the signs, but also the language. How can we ask a child if they are being abused? This is the Law Factor Live on DBS. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how we can talk to the children. We'll be right back.